Hey guys, in this lesson I want to teach you how to pronounce the names of Canada's provinces. Okay, look at all of these provinces and territories. First, I should mention that Canada has 10 provinces, which are along the bottom here, and 3 territories up here. Okay, actually, this territory called Nunavut is really new. It was established in 1999, I think. Before 1999, all of this used to be Northwest Territories. Okay, but then in 1999, this broke off, and this is the biggest territory in Canada. It goes all the way up here by Greenland. Okay, so this one is called Nunavut. Nunavut. You know, it's an indigenous language. It's not really an English word, so I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but I've heard people pronounce it Nunavut or Nunavut, something like that. Okay, so Nunavut. I should have looked it up before actually making this lesson, but if I don't know, that means probably most native English speakers in Canada don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Okay, just something like Nunavut. Okay, here we have Northwest Territories. Okay, that's a very easy one to pronounce. Northwest Territories. Okay, and then over here we have Yukon. 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 It's right here by Alaska. Okay, now we'll move down here on the west coast. We have British Columbia. British Columbia. But most people just call it BC for short. BC. BC is a bit easier than British. I hear a crow. I think there's some crows in that tree over there. Okay, so BC, you don't really need to know how to pronounce that. It's just 2 letters. Okay, and then let's work our way over to the east coast. Okay, so the next one in is Alberta. Alberta. Hey, that's where I'm from. I'm from Alberta. Okay, so it has 3 syllables. Alberta. Alberta. Okay, so the stress is on the middle. I hear that crow again. Where is that crow? It's disturbing my video. Okay, so Alberta. Alberta. Okay, now let's move across here, and we have Saskatchewan. Okay, how many syllables is that? Saskatchewan. Okay, that's 4 syllables. So can you hear which syllable has the stress? Now it's important to pay attention to stress in English. You know, I've made a few videos on that topic, and stress is more important than the individual sounds in a word. If you want to have good English pronunciation, it's more important to know the stress of a word than to get each sound in the word perfect. You don't really need to worry too much about that. It's more important that you get the stress right. Okay, so let's take a look at this word. Saskatchewan. Can you hear it? You're right. The stress is right here. Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan. Okay, so it's on the second syllable. Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan. Now let's move over here to Manitoba. Manitoba. How many syllables does that have? Manitoba. Again, we have 4 syllables. Can you hear which syllable has the stress? Listen. Manitoba. Manitoba. You're right. It's on the O. Right? It's on the 3rd syllable. Manitoba. Okay? So, that's how you say that. Manitoba. And over here, this is a very big province. Ontario has the capital, Ottawa, which is right over here, and the biggest city in Canada, which is Toronto. Okay, so Ontario is a very important province in Canada. Okay, listen to the word Ontario. Ontario. Hey, that has 4 syllables too. All of these have 4 syllables. Well, not Alberta and not BC, but Ontario. Okay, can you hear which syllable has the stress? Ontario. Ontario. You're right. The second syllable, Ontario. Okay, so the stress is right there over the A. Okay, now let's move over here to the French. part of Canada. So again, this word is a French word, okay? Now, most people that I've heard pronounce this word, pronounce it Quebec, Quebec, okay? Some people also say Quebec or Quebec, but most people that I've heard pronounce it. If you're French, let me know down there. How do you pronounce it? Is it pronounced Quebec? I think French people say Quebec, Quebec, okay? Something like that, okay? Quebec. And then if we go down over here, well, these provinces here on the east coast are called the Maritime provinces. The Maritime, there are 3 Maritime provinces, okay? Here in the green, we have New Brunswick, okay? New Brunswick, Brunswick, okay? Brunswick, there's 2 syllables, and the stress is on the first syllable, okay? New Brunswick. Okay, well, if we include the word new, then it has 3 syllables, right? New Brunswick, New Brunswick, okay? So the stress is right over here, over Bruns. And then Nova Scotia. Wow, Nova Scotia. Isn't that a great name for a province, okay? And then if we move north, we have Newfoundland and Labrador. Newfoundland and Labrador. Wow, that's a long Newfoundland and Labrador. I don't even know how many syllables in that, okay? So this is a kind of a, oops, my map is moving here. Okay, so this is kind of a hard word to pronounce. Even a lot of native English speakers don't know how to pronounce this word here. It looks like it should be Newfoundland, right? Sort of 3 words, Newfoundland. But actually the people from that area, they say Newfoundland. So Newfoundland. The middle one is just fin. Newfoundland. Newfoundland. Okay, so the stress is on the first syllable. Newfoundland. It's not Newfoundland or Newfoundland, it's Newfoundland. At least that's the way I've heard it pronounced. Now, I've never been there, but right now we are on a road trip across Canada. So we're gonna get there, and maybe I'll ask a local person, how do you pronounce the name of your province? And we'll see if they say Newfoundland, okay? Now, to be honest, I don't know the history of this area, why it's Newfoundland and Labrador, but on my trip, when we get over here, I'll explain that to you. I'll explain why it's Newfoundland and Labrador. So if you're not following my road trip across Canada, you can just find the series. I'll put the link to my series right down there in the description. It's a great series. I'm having a lot of fun going on a road trip across Canada. Okay, now I forgot to mention this one. Prince Edward Island. Prince Edward Island. Okay, it's a very small, this orange one here. Okay, Prince Edward Island. It's just sort of a very flat tone. Prince Edward Island. Okay, no major stresses there. Okay, so let's count them, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, wow. So 10 provinces and 3 territories. 1, 2, 3. Hey, have you been to all the provinces and territories in Canada? I doubt it. I've been to these a lot. These are called, the middle ones are called the Prairie provinces. Okay, this is the West Coast. This is the East Coast. This is French Canada here. I've never been to any territories, and I've never been to the Maritimes in my life. But we're going there on this trip, which is really exciting. I've been to Montreal for a few days, I think three days, and I've been to Ottawa for 3 days. I've never really been to Ontario. I've flown through Toronto because Toronto is Canada's biggest airport, but I've never really been to a lot of Canada. So I'm very excited on this trip to check out more of my own country. Hey, look at this beautiful lake here. I think it's going to rain today. But anyway, there's your lesson on how to pronounce the names of the provinces. I'll just run through them really quick, just so you know, okay? British Columbia. Now, I just want to mention, there's a country in South America called Colombia as well. We pronounce it the same in English, Colombia and Colombia, but this one is with a U, and the country is with an O. Okay, so it's like Colombia. Okay, it's not Colombia. But in English, when we say the country Colombia, we say it like with a U, even though it's spelled with an O. Okay, so BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, and here we have New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland and Labrador. And then moving up here, we have Nunavut, Northwest Territories, and Yukon. Hey, if you knew how to pronounce all of them before, let me know down in the comments. But if you learned something new, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.